A major launch is just days away, with every minute meticulously scheduled, yet a single unsettling alert disrupts the momentum. In that moment, you realise how swiftly celebration transforms into responsibility, and how little control is truly guaranteed. Leadership pressure surges as the job demands a blend of creativity, logistics, stakeholder management, and safety, often all at once. When everything vies for attention, the mind either freezes or prioritises, choosing what truly matters and what can wait. If leaders chase every alarm, teams lose focus, trust erodes, and decisions get delayed until options vanish. If leaders detach completely, people feel abandoned, and the organisation becomes vulnerable to avoidable mistakes. One executive balances opening a new park in China while receiving grim updates from Orlando. He remains present for guests and partners, yet quietly relies on specialists who handle security and support. In the next minutes, you will hear principles for prioritising crises, earning respect, demanding excellence, and staying honest. This video is inspired by The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. Subscribe for more leadership lessons. An internal threat scale is a simple ranking system that separates urgent emergencies from solvable problems. The mechanism involves deciding, in real time, whether to drop everything, delegate, or revisit later with context. This keeps the organisation functional, as leaders can stay visible while trained teams execute protocols behind the scenes. It also reduces panic, since everyone knows which issues require executive involvement and which have clear owners. During final rehearsals for a major opening, 2 unrelated tragedies at home demanded immediate information and support. Leadership responded by sending key operators to the site, tracking affected employees, and communicating with families directly. The larger lesson is that responsibility includes empathy, but empathy becomes effective only when systems already exist. A leader can show humanity without abandoning the mission, as long as priorities are stated and roles stay clear. Write 3 categories on paper: immediate danger, near-term damage, and long-term improvement. Then place today's issues inside them. Then assign a named owner to each item, so delegation becomes trust, not avoidance, and follow up on schedule. Optimism here means pragmatic enthusiasm about what can be achieved, even when choices are hard and outcomes uncertain. Courage is the fuel for risk-taking, because new ideas often wither when fear of failure dominates decisions. Optimism motivates people to keep building, while pessimism drains energy and makes every obstacle feel like a verdict. Courage makes room for bold bets, but it also demands focus and timely choices so that work does not splinter. At one point, leaders heard familiar industry claims that films with black leads would fail in international markets. The response was to greenlight bold projects anyway, and later those films succeeded globally, shifting cultural expectations. This approach treats creativity as a strategic asset, not a side activity, and protects it from cautious committee thinking. It also signals that leadership believes the audience is evolving, and that old assumptions should not dictate the future. Name the one priority that matters most this quarter, and publicly connect it to the resources it deserves. Then ask what fear is blocking progress, and design small experiments that make learning safer than stalling. Respect is not about politeness, but about recognizing what others need to engage fully. The key is empathy paired with clarity, ensuring people feel seen while maintaining clear boundaries and expectations. Without respect, disagreements escalate into public battles, draining attention and slowing negotiations. With respect, even skeptical partners listen longer, and the organisation can move from conflict to alignment. A new CEO inherited a feud with a founder's relative, whose criticism kept the company in headlines. The quickest fix was offering genuine respect, which cost little and removed an obstacle to progress. This habit matters in deals, as most agreements depend on trust between people, not just spreadsheets. Clear explanations, honest feedback, and accessible leadership prevent a culture of fear that stifles communication and innovation. Before your next hard conversation, state the problem plainly, explain why it matters, and ask what support is needed. If learning to lead with respect while still moving fast matters to you, subscribe for more guidance. The relentless pursuit of perfection is a mindset that rejects mediocrity while remaining practical about time and constraints. The process involves pushing past the first acceptable draft, asking what can be improved, and doing the extra work. Quality is built from small decisions, so leaders who care about details raise the standard for everyone. However, when perfection becomes a burden, people hide problems, avoid risks, and stop offering honest feedback. One demanding executive would tear up a program late in production and insist the team rework it overnight. His simple instruction was to do what you need to do to make it better, and that focus made the output shine. Creative work requires personal investment, so feedback must respect how much is at stake for the maker. Excellence and fairness can coexist when leaders expect effort, allow honest mistakes, and treat failure as data. When reviewing work, start with the big goal, then offer 2 improvements that matter most and end with encouragement. Then ask the team what obstacle is blocking a higher standard and remove it instead of blaming individuals. When industries shift, innovation becomes mandatory. You can either change yourself or be changed by external forces. The mechanism is disrupting what still works, investing in new delivery, and making calls before the window closes. This can mean accepting short-term losses, as delaying protects current revenue but risks future relevance. Leaders must communicate priorities often, remain accessible, and stay fair-minded as routines and identities get unsettled. Major acquisitions often depended on one decision-maker, like Steve Jobs, who controlled a leading animation studio. Promises to protect creative identity require authenticity. Walking away from a tempting platform deal showed integrity when instincts warned. Trust compounds when leaders are clear from the start, as reversing positions later erodes relationships and future options. A simple rule captures it. Your personal standards become the company's standards, and people judge the brand through you. When considering a disruptive move, write the long-term risk of staying still, then name the courage required to act. Pair that with a trust plan, state what will not change, and keep your word even under pressure. The purpose of leadership is not to avoid problems, but to guide people through them with clarity and steadiness. A career becomes meaningful when work serves creativity, people, and long-term purpose, rather than ego and distractions. You learn to rank challenges on a threat scale, delegate quickly, and stay present during critical moments. You also saw how optimism, respect, and high standards combine to keep teams moving without fear or confusion. Over time, these habits build trust, making bold choices possible because people believe promises will be kept. They also enhance creative output, as honest feedback flows upward and leaders can improve work before it is released. Start small by writing down your values, your top priority, and the one relationship that needs respect restored. Tomorrow, practice one direct conversation, one high-quality push beyond good enough, and one timely decision. If you repeat this rhythm, leadership stops being a personality contest and becomes a set of learnable actions. Subscribe if you want more practical frameworks for leading through change while protecting people, trust,